So we are bombarded with these messages that tell us that
Exactly.
confidence is not a good thing. I mean, I remember my parents would say this to me all the time, like, don't be too overconfident. It wasn't
Mm,
even like confidence.
right.
It was like, Sanaya, don't be too overconfident. And, don't let your head become too big. Don't be too
Right.
arrogant. So, if
Right. Right.
anything,
Right.
I remember growing up being told over and over again that I was too much, right? And that made me think that this thing called confidence was something that was bad or
Right,
wrong,
right.
right?
Especially maybe in Asian cultures where it's
Especially.
more conformist than individualistic. And so being told that you're too much translates as we grow up to I'm not enough
Exactly.
because you go the opposite direction.
Absolutely. So tell me your story, Mirza.
Right.
Like, how did you unlearn this
Right.
conditioning? How did you get your confidence back or rebuild it
Right.
after losing it?
Through a lot of self-help, actually. Because my dad owns the bargain bookstore chain called Book Sale. So while he was building it, we grew up with access to all kinds of books imaginable. So I had access to all the women's magazines, starting from like all the teen magazines. And then as I was transitioning from high school to college, after having been the most invisible, the quietest, most introverted nerd in high school, which was a science high school, where nobody even remembers me because I hardly even spoke. I came across this book called Shyness by Dr. Philip Zimbardo, who's now a renowned expert on that subject and many others. I learned from the book that just as we convince ourselves that we are shy, we can convince ourselves that we are not shy. And he recommended pretending that you are not shy in an environment where nobody knows you. And so I said, perfect, I'm going to college. And in college at the University of the Philippines, I took up the course statistics. And not many people knew me. So I said, I'm going to be this whole different person. So I acted as if I was not shy. I sat in front of the class. I volunteered to be group leader. I spoke up in class a lot. And before you know it, my actions convinced my brain that I was not shy. And everything followed. Suddenly, I was not shy. And so he was right. And this was the biggest turning point because I unlearned all the lack of confidence that had been eroding at my confidence for all this time. And then I had like a new lease on life. Like I could be this whole different person who is confident. And so that's when it started.
I love that. And your story, Mirza, sounds like one of those like fake it till you make it stories.
Right.
Just pretend you have the confidence
Right.
and let it flow from there. So how did you push through all that resistance and discomfort to step out of what was considered your normal behavior?
Because I wanted so much to not be shy anymore and be this other non-shy person.
So you had a goal,
I had a goal.
right? You were
Yes.
like, I need to become not shy anymore.
Yes, I
But
don't
again,
like my old shy self.
Right.
Right.
But why? What did you want?
I guess I felt that I was missing out on life. And there were so many things I knew that I could achieve if I were not shy. So I did it scared. I was the type who felt like if other people were looking at me, I was going to die. Like I would turn very red and I felt like I wanted the ground to swallow me up. And so with each step out of my comfort zone, with each scary step leaning into the discomfort, I got desensitized to the pain, to the attention, to the self-consciousness. And that's how you build confidence. When you keep jumping out of your comfort zone and getting used to the discomfort of being confident, that's when you finally convince yourself that you are not.
And I love this story, because Mirza, essentially you treated confidence like a habit.
Yes.
Right? It was something you had
Exactly.
to teach yourself
Right.
to have. And they say, right, if you want to build a habit, just do the same behavior
Right.
over and over again.
Right.
So what you did is you did confident behavior.
Right.
Right? Behavior that put you as someone who was
Right.
confident. And before you knew it, you
Yes.
became that.
And
right?
this is something I applied in my next phase as I transitioned from being a nerdy computer programmer to a model. How extreme can you get, right? Like from a person who was just in her cubicle coding, writing code for a living, to stepping into a runway in front of hundreds of people
Oh my
with
God.
all the spotlights on you. How do you go from that point to this other point? And looking back, when I think about, how did I achieve that? I realized I just put one foot in front of the other on the runway. One foot in front of the other. One scary step in front of the other in my high heels that I was, wobbling on, and I didn't really know how to do a catwalk. One foot in front of the other until I reached the other end and back. I kept repeating the process. Like, I don't know why, but I still got booked for more shows. And the more I did it, the more I practiced, the better I got at it. And in the end, I became confident. So the habit of practicing putting one foot in front of the other resulted in the long run in confidence. And then now looking back, I realized in order to be confident at something that you're new at, just put one foot in front of the other until it becomes a thing. And this is something I have applied in any room that I walk into, whether it's a ballroom full of fashion VIPs or a boardroom where I have to present, or in starting my new podcast, or when I became editor-in-chief of a magazine having no journalism background at all except for the high school paper. I just put one foot in front of the other until it became a thing.
Let's talk about some of the confidence myths
Right,
that are out there,
right,
because there's a
right,
lot.
right.
I mean, one of them was one I started with, which
Right.
is it is something you have to build and we're not born with.
Right,
So I
right.
love that we busted that one already.
Right.
Are there any other really important ones that you think we need to know about confidence
Right.
that will help us embrace it a lot more comfortably and wholeheartedly?
Right. It's not a phase that will arrive. Like people say, I have to wait until I'm more confident before I act upon my dream. It's not going to come. The thing is, you have to act upon your dream and then you become confident with practice. If you wait until you're confident, that day may never come. And I meet so many people, friends, followers, even clients who are waiting for that day when they will magically be confident. It's not going to come. You become confident with practice. And in a chapter of my book on confidence, I kind of look back to my life and applied some coaching know-how and all my self-help know-how. I made a formula, being a statistician.
Love it.
I made a formula for confidence, and I have determined that it's composed of 3 C's: courage, conviction, and consistency. First, you have to have the courage to try, the courage to take one small step in the direction of your dreams. Next, you have to have the conviction in your self-belief and in your purpose about what it is that you want to do. You must believe in yourself so much and have that sense of purpose in order to carry out your goals and achieve your dreams so much that you become, the third part is consistent about putting yourself out there and always showing up no matter what happens. So it's courage, conviction, and consistency.
And Mirza, your story really exemplifies this. What I mean by that is you talked about how you were in college, right, at UP, and you were like, I'm not going to be the shy girl anymore, right? So you had conviction,
Yes.
which was conviction in the goal
Yes.
that I am not going to be the shy girl.
Right.
I am going to come out of my shell, right? And then you had the courage because you would raise your hand, you would speak up, you would do all the things that were not normal or comfortable for you. So you displayed courage.
Yes.
And then you said you just kept doing it,
yes.
right? And that was also the whole philosophy of putting one foot in front of the other. Just keep going until you get there. So that's absolutely it. You have not only, given us this beautiful, amazing framework and easy to remember, right? The 3
Right.
C's: courage, conviction, and consistency.
And you need to do all 3. You can't just be brave and not do anything.
Right.
You can't just believe in yourself, try it once, and then not do anything afterwards.
I agree with that. But I want to play a little bit of, not the devil's advocate, but I'd like to just, throw in another idea, Mirza. Commitment.
Yes.
That's another C.
Right.
So where does commitment factor into all of this? What do you
I
think
think
of that?
commitment factors in between conviction and consistency.
Mm.
Because when you have the conviction to carry out your dreams and goals, this will require being committed to taking the steps needed. And once you're committed, you need to be consistent. I know fake it till you make it gets a lot of bad rap, but I'm not asking for faking. I'm asking for acting as if you are already your goal person, your dream person. And by doing that, you assume all the traits and qualities of that target person, and eventually the rest of you will catch up. So use your imagination and take a small step. It could be as simple as, how would my dream person dress up? Right? So you wear the outfit that maybe if you want to be promoted to the boss, start dressing like the boss. And start acting as if you were the boss, not to like throw your weight around or anything like that, but imbibe the qualities that will also make people see you as the boss, therefore getting you promoted.
I absolutely love this, Mirza, because it's a manifestation hack.
Yes.
Right? So I tell my clients all the time, if you want to be rich, if you want to manifest abundance and money, start acting like someone who has money. And what's one of the quickest, easiest ways to do that?
Dress the part.
Dress the part. That's one. That's a really great one. But the one I use all the time is tipping. If you had plenty of money, right? At least I hope, if you had plenty of money, you would tip more. You would have
I love that.
tips,
I'll start doing that.
right? You would act like someone who has so much money that they'd be happy to share the love, right? Share the money. So acting like someone who's already, at the level of where you want to be, imbibing, being the person, the version of yourself that can have what you want, right? Whether that's a career, dressing the part, whether that's a partner, loving yourself and treating yourself the way you want to be treated, whether that's, like you said, becoming this confident, courageous person. It's all about rising to the level of the life or the goal that you want.